Hi, welcome to another episode of Foxy Little Nuggets, where we look at the day's news, scrape it off the road, throw it in a box, and read it out as though it's good. Because it rarely is, though, isn't it? It's rarely good news. We do have some good news, but we'll do that as an and finally. But, of course, we have one story that is still continuing to dominate the sad case of Henry Novak. Our first story this evening. The front pages are dominated by the murder of the 18-year-old Henry Novak, and also, of course, of the police response after he was handcuffed while dying. Sky's paper round this morning just showed that just about every newspaper out there was leading on this story. The Metro, the Sun, the Mirror, the Mail, the Times, the Telegraph, the Express, the Star, you name it, they had it. They all led on the fallout, of course, in one form or another. It ceased being a story that's going through a media cycle. Normally these things come, they rise, they go. This is not. It's an event. It's a national alarm bell. Everybody wants to talk about it because the repercussions of this are so big. I've done many stories on it individually based. I'm not going to regurgitate them here, but it is the story here is that the story is continuing. It's not going away. Inevitably, of course, politics arrives, and the politicians have come in, and they're wearing their big size 10 steel toe cap boots, and they're busy kicking the shins of each and every one of the other party. Starmer has accused Nigel Farage of exploiting the tragedy. Farage talks about two-tier policing. Badenoch says it's a seminal moment. The Home Secretary promises answers. And above all this, and rather bravely and with dignity, the family is asking for calm. And so Westminster hears, please don't divide us, and immediately looks for the best ways to divide us. Politicians, it's a dirty game. Well, moving on. Next story, we've got the police guidance review. This is also in relation to this, but it is a separate issue. The Times and the Telegraph, both front pages, report pressure to review or scrap, preferably scrap, this race bias guidance that has led to so much trouble. And good, review everything, cancel everything, make this country a single justice system where we all face the same rules. Because whatever your politics, a dying teenager saying he's been stabbed should not need to win a cultural sensitive, or should not need to have a cultural sensitivity test. And so it is there. The job of the state is to protect the innocent, catch the guilty, and not confuse the two, simply because of biases put in by loony lefties. It's a tragedy, but people are going. I think it's a tragedy that will lead to change. We're going to move on now to the Mandelson files. Now, they are still hanging around. Mandelson is hanging around like a bad smell. He's like the spectre at the feast. He permeates the Labour Party. This doom-laden figure. No matter what they do, they cannot expunge his corruption and stench of creepy oversight from anywhere within the party. He's still in the news because apparently British politics has to run on release of archived material and embarrassment for the Prime Minister. Prime Minister can't do anything else at the moment, of course. The Times reports the files include attacks on Starmer's leadership, questions about who can be taxed, and internal grumbling from Labour senior figures. Now, before you say anything, you're thinking, well, that was yesterday's news. It was, but of course it all comes up today because of PMQs, and what a PMQs we had. Well done to Kemi, to be honest. Starmer knew it was coming. He did have some fairly pat answers, but he didn't come up with them. But the way he actually presented them, you could tell it was, remember you have to say this, Mr. Starmer. Yes, I think that, very dumb. He was very bad. But of course, the whole issue, I would say, well, I was going to say it's eroding trust in politics, but I think trust is laying on the, the side of the road outside Westminster, with a knife in its back and bleeding out into the gutter. There is, I think, alas, no trust in politics anymore. Nobody believes them. Mandelson is this ghost of New Labour, and past Labour and present Labour and probably future Labour as well. They won't be able to get rid of him. He's always in the room. He's always somehow requiring an inquiry. He's now been fired 3 times from 3 different jobs. He's this. Yeah, he just won't go away. This story as well, with more to be released, it's going to just keep coming. You have to wonder what else is out there. But moving on to the economy, because this is always good news, isn't it? Whenever you talk about the economy under a Labour government. Reuters reports the UK services activity fell in May for the first time since April 25, with the services PMI down to 49.3, so definitely in negative territory. Costs are rising, of course, because of energy, fuel, transport, wages, every other policy the Labour Party have come up with. And May, and here this is correct, this is cracking. May saw the 20th consecutive month of job cuts. Remember, Labour have been in power 22 months. I can't blame this one on the Tories, no siree Bob. The Bank of England probably will hold rates at 3.75, apparently waiting to assess the wider damage. They're going to call this stability. But it's only stable because it's going downhill at a very steady rate, in much the same way as a glacier goes down the mountain and straight into the sea. Very slowly, but inexorably. And that's the British economy at the moment. We've got the resident doctors. Next bit, they're striking again. They're due to strike from the 15th to the 19th of June. Reuters say the BMA argues the offer is inadequate. The government says further demands are unrealistic and unaffordable. It's funny, isn't it, how they're unaffordable. They weren't unaffordable last year. Oh, they're all of a sudden unaffordable. The Department of Health says its March offer would have left resident doctors, on average, 35.2% better off than 4 years ago, and still massively underpaid in comparison with MPs who don't need to do 4 years or 7 years of training and don't deal with hundreds of thousands of pounds of debt. So, you pays your money and takes your chance. And of course, now the NHS isn't really a health service, it's more an escape room, and you're lucky to get out with your life, aren't you? But there is some good news. We'll do an and finally. We've got some fluffy animals on the back of our notes. Puffins, for example, and dolphins and bees, and whatever else you like to see. Puffins on money. Stick a dolphin in my pocket, you know what I mean? Is that a dolphin in your pocket, you pleased to see me? Bumblebees, maybe, on one of the larger notes. Who knows? Basically, they're replacing public figures with endangered creatures. Mind you, at this rate, it means in about a year and a half's time, you probably have a whole series of, Labour politicians on the banknotes. They're an endangered species, or at least they will be after the next election. So there we go. That was Foxy Little Nuggets for today. The news continues, and sadly, so do the people responsible for most of it. Hey ho. Tune in again tomorrow. Thanks very much. Bye.